The theme for this year is content production and emerging technology, the panacea for growth in the creative economy. Today we are talking about branded entertainment or content integration. I was speaking, I would say a lot, but I want us to, because I want to even start asking questions, because people that are seated right beside me are all gurus. I want them to share their experiences in content integration. Let's start with this is Ada Adeke.
Good afternoon, everybody. Morning, sorry. As you know it from everybody saying, content and the storyline is still the king and the leader. If you don't have the right content, you can't connect, you can't resonate with your target audience. And before you come to developing your content, first of all, you have to understand, who do I want to address? You have to define your target audience. You just don't create content and throw it into the sea and expect it to deliver. You have to understand, okay, what brand am I targeting? How much of knowledge do I have about this brand? Who are the consumers? And where do I get them? What kind of medium do they consume? And that is why when she was talking about the media mix. There's no one single medium that can deliver to you. However you believe it, TV is still number one in Nigeria. Digital is growing. But you must have to know that there's always somebody making a conscious decision at every particular time. And the individual people, if you have understanding of your target audience, you know the medium they consume, you know the best time, you know their mood of receptivity to be able to have the content. If you produce a wonderful content without placing it in the right environment, you will miss your purpose. So, in course of creating your content, you have to have a total knowledge of who do I want to target, and what are they, what do they consume, what is their habit. If I produce this content, woven the brand into your story, you'll be able to make a difference. Yes, so many times you find that it's not that you can't place your ad, but what happens is that once the commercial break comes in, people walk out. They just take a break. Let me just get a glass of water. Let me. But if you have the content, in course of being immersed in the story, and your content is part of it, like she talked about big products, you find that on a tax day, a brand story is told throughout the period, interwoven into whatever you have for the day, and at the end of the day, it delivers. If you're talking about Pepsi, for example, I used to work on Pepsi. On that very day that you're creating story, you're talking about musicians, you're talking about Bedu, you're talking about everything, and people dancing and they're drinking Pepsi, different things. Instead of placing just the ad, you see people, it's a fun thing. It has to be brand relevant, and it has to be the right target and the right medium at the right time. Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you very much. John, I'll go straight to Madam Jibologi. What are other considerations?
Thank you. As you've been told, my name is Jibologi. I'm a content person. I've been producing content since 2001. I want to ask, why do you want to brand my content? Do you want to own the content? Because sometimes you find out that you are the creative person, you own your content. And a brand is coming to take it from you and make it its own. Why do you want to do that? Because you feel that my content can deliver your brand to your consumers or to your target audience, so to speak. In social media, we call it the avatar. Now, if you want to do that, why don't you put the right price on it so that you can own it? And I just give it to you. Because what I find in content production is that the brands want to come and picture my content and gain on it. Advertise sell your product through me. And then you do that as far as you want to. Then at the end of the day, you leave me and go somewhere else. like a prostitute. Then you now want me to go look for another brand to take over the content. So what I have done in my content strategy is, if you want to own my brand, pay for it, pay the right price, own it, turn it around, do whatever you want to do with it, and I just know it's yours. But you don't expect me to infuse more than 3, 4, 5 brands in my content. There'll be confusion. And that's why a lot of brands these days, a lot of content these days are left dry. I'll give you an example. KKB Show was sponsored by Ribena for years. All the TV stations, they made millions from it. And the brand, Ribena, every child was going to school with Ribena in their lunch boxes. Do you understand? But the day KKB Show was dropped by Ribena, that is the end of KKB Show. Because anywhere KKB went, the guy is gone the guy has jackpot. He went everywhere with KKB Show and said Ribena. This was how I know Ribena. KKB Show, Ribena. That was how the guy's talent went down the drain. What did he do? Just packed his bag and went to Canada. Even when I started my channel on Star Times, Jive TV, it's a children's channel, I tried marketing it. Everywhere I went, they would tell me it is owned by Nestle. And that guy's talent, I just told him, I said, look, you would have just sold it to them at the right price and move on to another content. I'll give you another example. I started producing Eleganza Young Brains in 2001. It was in partnership with the Lagos State Ministry of Education. I'm sure you can testify to that. Because he works with Lagos State before he said jackpot. Okay. I got Eleganza Biro to latch on young brains. So it was Eleganza Young Brains. And we're on for 4 years. Eleganza Biro was everywhere. All the secondary school students say, write your way to success with Eleganza Biro. If everywhere I went, I was, write your way to success with Eleganza Biro. And I was having fun. Do you know the day Eleganza decided to produce Biro, to stop production of Biro, and went to build high-risers in Lekki and Ajah, and they stopped producing Biro? That was the end. Everywhere I went, can you sponsor Young Brains? It's a quiz competition among schools in Lagos State. Oh, is that an Eleganza program? Everywhere Eleganza program. Everywhere I went, when I got to a point, the general manager of MIT said to me, Jibe, stop advertising Young Brains. Because everywhere you went, they would say it's Eleganza Young Brains. I had to change to Young Scholars. And anybody who came to me, they want to sponsor Young Scholars, I said, give me another title, let me produce for you. This title is mine, you can't own it. Because when you own it, I can't get it back. So branded entertainment is good, but please let the people who want to brand my content own it. Pay rightly for it. For my creativity, title, I'll give you another title. But mine, don't title brand it. Okay. And make it in such a way that everywhere I went, they will say you are the owner when I'm supposed to be the owner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to our next speaker to differentiate between branded entertainment and sponsorship. Because are you producing for, or are you partnering with? So please, I want you to throw further light on it so that it will be clear to us whether what is actually branded entertainment and sponsorship.
Okay, thank you, Chinedu. Thank you everyone for inviting me. I think for the very first time, I'm happy to see a collection of content producers and marketers in the market. A lot of them I've dealt with for so many years, and it's actually the first time I'm seeing some of them. Mr. Adno, I've worked with him for a very long time. I never set my eyes on him until today. Okay, thank you, Chinedu. I think we should understand when we say creative content, it means that actually there has always been content, but how creative are you with the content? That's before I start answering your question. And so, part of the challenges that we have faced in the industry, in my little years of experience, is that people still continue to produce what they have produced 10, 20 years ago. You don't want to change it. And I recently had a session with some people, and I said to them, come, where did the dinosaurs go? People say dinosaurs are extinct, they died. And then I asked myself, if you say that the evolution of man, that man evolved from somewhere into something, and even religiously, there were beings that occupied the earth at the beginning. So did they look like you and I at that time? So that's also a question for another day. But the truth of the matter is this. So you can't tell me that the dinosaurs went extinct. They also evolved. They also changed into something, because we also changed. If that evolution theory is like that, where am I driving at? I'm driving at the fact that change is very constant. So when you constantly evolve your content, make it a lot more creative to resonate with the demands of the consumer of today, and to also resonate with the consumers not just of today but of tomorrow. So when you continue to live your content the way it was 10 years ago because it is your tradition, we've left you behind, because we are looking for innovative solutions for the advertiser, for the brand, beyond the advertiser, but the brand. And again, for the consumer. And who are these consumers? You're creating for young people, and you're not creating those contents in such a manner that they are adaptable to the channels where they are. Then you've lost it, and you will continue to market for several years. And then, because the content itself is not evolving as the media and as the consumer is evolving, then it becomes a problem. So creative content then means that we have to creatively and consistently change the way we do things, change the way we produce, change the contents, change the quality of the content that we produce. Some people are so deep-seated on producing for TV. Why don't you produce for video? And so that your content is adaptable across multiple platforms, and for these young people to also embrace. Okay? So I thought to add to that. So when you talk about sponsorship, you have a content already. I think this one is very academic for me. If you have a content, and I feel that that content resonates with my strategy, because everything has to start from the strategy. If the strategy says that this is the way I want to act, and this type of XYZ content can help me to deliver the rich goal. Most of the time, the objective for what you people produce is either we are delivering awareness or it is delivering engagement for us, right? So if it is delivering awareness, it means that I am going to look for a content that is highly rated. Take TV, for instance. The content has to be highly rated for me to make a choice. And this rating is measured every quarter hour, every 15 minutes you are airing. You are in competition with every other person. And therefore, you can see how tight it is for me to make the choice. So if your content is good, content is only good when the rating is high. And therefore, if that rating is high, it means that the strategy is going to recognize that this program is good. The media plan is going to recognize that this particular program or this particular content is good to deliver the strategy of either awareness, or that is for the brand ultimately, or the engagement. And what am I looking for? If the content is highly rated, it is going to deliver me reach, because the strategy is that when it is of high reach, it will help us to deliver the level of awareness that the brand wants. But because you are in competition with a whole lot of others, if your content is low in reach and low in rating, I am not going to invest in it. And you will have massive downward return on investment over time. So if I identify...
Okay, so the way I always come from a position of data, numbers and all that. Personally, I don't think what is currently existing in the industry works. And everybody that knows me knows that I'm very blunt and saying conversation. People are not driven by knowledge. They're driven by emotions, driven by conversations, driven by contact. On every sphere, I'm telling you, I'm taking nobody out of this sphere. And that's what makes me different. So, why wait for 3 months? If it's the issue of that's when the data is available, then we change the conversation. We are all seated in this room. On the issue of having to come and buy into my product, I said it yesterday. It is when advertisers like us start saying to media buyers, just go and get me that product, go and get me that content. Because what I am seeing, I don't just want to even have a conversation with you. I said it yesterday, how deep are you with marketing analytics? You cannot, it's as bad as, okay, somebody said people not watching your ad midpoint. Check out how the news channels, international news channels deliver their news. They give you breaking news after their break. You would wait. I kid you not, you will wait. So when they tell you what is coming up next, like, oh, the result of Nigerian FIBA basketball team, blah, 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 and you're in Nigerian, or they tell you, oh, there's something that just happened, breaking news, you will wait for that ad that you want to hear. So when you do your content, what do you put just before the ad break? So that the person that is watching does not even go to get water from the fridge. It's a conversation. See, this is not rocket science. I kid you guys not. Knowledge is what will drive this industry. As I said to people this morning, if the current system is not working, in this room are content people. Yesterday I came, I presented on AI. And I told you there's a national AI strategy. People will tell you not to use AI. Please use AI. What is this thing for brands? Brands want to deliver numbers. The beauty of marketing, I will tell you, is an unreliable expense by even the tax people. Trust me, if I give money to my mom that needs it, the tax people will take it back and return it. If I do marketing with that money, all I need to just justify is the invoices. So they believe it's an investment that will make the brand grow. So when I sit in the room and people, so there's content, there's sponsorship, be upfront and understand. So the question around why the brands leave content, what's your next level? So in brands, you see us create brands for the next set of people. When you hear an extension of the brand, we are trying to follow them as they are leaving this brand to the next, knowing that either their taste has changed, so we then blend some things with some other things, and another brand is created. Because we know some part of our ecosystem, consumers, have moved on. So if a brand is owning your content, have that conversation. For them to continue, have an extension in which you tell them this is what I see happening. We need to still follow these consumers because we have helped you in getting them. Till tomorrow, personally, advertising works for me. As old as I am, I still buy online. Because when they throw something into my box, I just quickly click and go and check. Let me tell you how bad it is. I'm one of those, we used to call it in school, Rasta do I am generation, Indomie. So I buy a carton of Indomie. You know what I use carton of me to do? The sauce. I put it in the soup. I can't still taste it without having that sauce inside. Because I practically grew up with that item. So who says advertising does not, who says brand loyalty does not exist? My mom still takes her bath with the same soap she was using before I was born. I don't want to market it. The same soap, don't even bother giving her another soap. She won't take it from you. So guys, content we are talking about, we need it as advertisers. if there is a divide now that, oh, how is advertisers not getting aware of our content, or how is agencies not pushing it, I hear conversations often. And sometimes somebody told me, oh, agencies will not accept a brand person, an advertiser. And I said, you sent the content to an agency and they're having conversations with you. How did you send it? Did you have conversations around the data and what you want to do with it? The last time I checked, the one that gets fired if the brand is not growing. So what is the conversation about? You see, this ecosystem, in my own view, had made some of us on the advertising side like spirits, not to be seen. I don't know why. Then some people are saying, oh, we are the diviners or the intercessories that meet the spirit. I also don't know why. I say to you guys, and I'm making a plea here to everybody, if there's an ecosystem you want and it's going to work for us. There's a common issue. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, what's my view on this conversation between no one and all that. I said to them, no one told us it will help us for our bots not to be dropped by states. And I said to them, if this is what you want and you are assuring me my bots will not be dropped, count me in. Because when my bots are dropped, I have to come with my CE. He just gave me 200 million, the bots are down. What do I tell the CE? So guys, if you want to have conversations on how to get your content to advertisers, how to then put data, because I believe even you have not defined your content well enough for us to understand what we are buying into. And that's why everybody is telling you here, say what's this, what's that. They have used the fanciful names, the reach, the frequency, this, that. Use marketing analytics, define your content, then let's have it, and let's have that healthy conversation. Between us and the agencies, we will agree. If I want to sponsor, I will sponsor. Saying to you, this is what I want to do. If I want to own, if you want me to continue to own after a 5-year term, sign a 5-year contract and give me extensions and say why we need to do it. Yesterday, I told you guys about the strategy of a particular road. I have left that brand in 2017. I kid you not, in 2027, those outdoors will still be on that road. Because I defended it with strategy. And I told them, if you don't get this road now, by the time the competing bank gets their head office on that road, you will struggle to get that road because you'll be using your money versus another person's big money. So get it now. And I told the agency, please, 3 months, they have given me right approval to go and get that road. If I don't get that road in 3 months, we'll have a conversation. Trust me, they called everybody. Every week they were reporting to me, we'll get you the road, we'll get you the road. And they got the road. So what is the thinking behind the person that is helping you with the content? If I get you a content into a brand, I want it to continue when I leave the brand. So let's sit down and have a serious strategic conversation. Let's know it will deliver the numbers. And whether I'm there or not, the brand will still understand what the content is doing. So don't make buying, sponsorship, advertising, branded content, I know you conversation. Let's drive it with knowledge. Let's drive it with data, and we'll all be happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, in this country, no man still works somehow, but we will need to look at changing consumer preference and attitude, because, well, the truth is that whether you have when I have digital algorithm and everything, there's still somebody somewhere that will punch the computer to make sure that you get into the plans. So that's the truth. But let's look at cultural impacts in content integration and branded entertainment. When we talk about culture, we talk about the way of life of people, not just the traditional culture. Now, Miriam, we talked so much about content integration and the use of influencers in driving connection with audience. Now, sorry, we're so random. My question is, the use of influencers in branded entertainment, will you say it's positive? Will you say it's negative? Because the personality of that influencer rubs off on that brand. So talk to us about it.
Okay. I remember I spoke about the type of people that we use, and I tried to also encourage younger people here who want to go into influencer marketing in terms of on their attitude and how people see them, and also being able to regulate themselves ethically. We actually look at you, and you're not able to judge. There's no good or bad here, and there's no Jesus or Satan here, so people have their. But overall, the person has to be what we want for the brand, because there are marketing codes and there are ethics that we expect generally. So which is why, for instance, no matter what we're pushing, either I'll use Nive for instance, if we have a brand ambassador, not a brand ambassador, an influencer, if we have an influencer marketing plan and we have a particular kind of influencer that we want to use, in anything that you do, even when you're graduating from university, character is very important. And the character we are talking about is the character that we see around the brand. And the brand we are talking about is the channel. We're not talking about how you live your life outside of the channel, as long as it doesn't get out to the news. If, for instance, we decide we want to use a particular influencer, let's say Nemcea, I'm not talking down on her, please. And imagine then when she got married to her husband. Traditional, I don't have any issue with that because she's a Muslim and she's a Nigerian, and our tradition allows it. And she decided she's going to engage the man or marry the man and use around that. Let's imagine wanted to use her for the deodorant campaign. And that thing happened, and a lot of people started, you know how they drag down online and all. Of course, we'll cancel the contract at that time. Character is very important. In character, your personality and the personality around your platform is very important. Because people don't always have it right or wrong. Anything might happen. If we have a campaign going on with you and anything happens around your personality, of course we'll cancel the campaign around your character. Right, that's one. But I spoke about the things that we look at. So if you're going to influence, so the overall strategy is, if I'm doing a cooking brand, maybe Onga, and you, Madam on blonde hair, is going to influence, has the platform to influence her, to influence my consumers, I will be with her. But of course, for her to have the character to influence my consumers, she has to have the right character. She won't come online naked, she won't come online talking carelessly, she won't be on every toxic blog abusing people or trying to act as if she's a saint. So she has to have like the right character and the right platform. I hope that answers.
Okay, Madam.
So, on this influencer conversation, I want to add something quickly so that people in the room will learn. It's a very thin line, and I would say to you, just to make it brief, if you want to get an influencer, not only check the character, go to get the consumers to do a deep dive. I had that issue when we were going to do influencers and all those so-called ambassadors and all kind of stuff. Let me tell you why you need to do it. The VP pick for Kamala Harris now, they spend weeks in vetting him. You know what you are doing? You are checking him against what the numbers would be when he becomes VP. So check every influencer before you put them on your brand. I mean, even you guys are going to use them, or even it's us or the media buyers, they need to go through research, do a dipstick. I was shocked when I did one. We had sat with the agency, we had agreed on certain people. Somebody in the room says, just take them to dipstick. And it was back then when Nollywood was happening, so I was on HAP. We ended up choosing Cartoon, Jimmy Jad, and Desmond Elliott. We had other people in the room, I want to call their names. If I tell you, I play you what consumers told us that we on the brand or the media team did not know. These people practically watch their life every day, and then we just knew who to use. So please don't just check on the character. Let the consumers speak to you on what they really see in that influencer or that ambassador.
On the final note, Madam Ada.
Okay, let me come on the other side of the influencer. It's not all about negative about influencer, because the influencer delivers so much for you. I could remember when I did a kind of Pepsi and we did a long throat. We just got whiskey to tweet. Only one tweet of whiskey. It turned everybody was talking about what they were long throating for. So we have to see, just like everybody has said, check the character. And before you sign your contract, after you have done all your check, tie it to a contract. And that contract period, within this brand, this time you're representing this brand, these are things expected of you as much as possible as a human being.
You know what your brand wants to communicate. You should have a meeting with the content owners, with Nemcea, and say, look, this is the strategy of my brand, okay? When you're doing your content, this is how I would like you to, the aspect you should put into the production. Because by the time I come to you and you say your program does not fit, I've already done it. So if you say I'm your media partners, when you're doing your strategy in December, look at all your, because we register with you. You know all your registered media partners. You call them to a meeting and say, look, this is what my brand is driving. How can you weave your content to sell my brand? That's how it should be. Your brand is all about. Because you're afraid I'm going to go directly to the advertiser. So there's this relationship between the agencies and the content owners that needs to be looked into very seriously. And look at us as media partners. And when you are partners, you bring equal value to the table. The agency is not doing the content owner a favor. It is the content owner that is doing the agency a favor to be able to service the advertiser. So that's what we're saying. We are the ones doing your job. Without us, I mean, what are you going to deliver to your clients? You know, so we need this relationship. And please, at the end of this workshop or seminar or conference, we've held a meeting with MIPAN already. Nemcea has met with MIPAN already. Okay, and we're going to further it so that there can be a call. See, these huge budgets that Mr. Semene, the advertisers, have for us, we want to be able to expend it. Thank you.
But there are individual differences in terms of attitude of people. I don't think a lot of us don't have that kind of attitude when it comes to approaching or having a relationship with media owners, because you know that we depend on the content to be able to service the client, and that's the truth. So I would suggest that you guys, I think there's these heads of advertising sectoral groups that need to sit together. There's also MIPAN that needs, MIPAN, and then let's have like a tripartite meeting to address this kind of issue that you guys have raised. Then I just want to make a correction, Chinedu, on something, because I realized after talking about ratings and all that, some people, I mean, you also spoke about it. Yes, we understand some of the challenges in data. What I was trying to address is the way marketers, content marketers sell, not about the science behind it. The science is very important, and he alluded to it. That's the truth. Because the challenges you guys are facing, we are also facing similar challenges with them. Because if I don't go to them and justify why that content is important, why that content will help deliver the goal, I will run down his return on investment at the end of the day, and I will not deliver the goal of the brand. So what I'm saying is that there are creative ways. Continue to innovate the way you just the same way you innovate the content, also innovate the way you sell the content. There are qualitative information. If you don't trust the market data, come out with your own data, your own proprietary research, and prove a point that this content is valid. All I'm saying, please don't come to me to waste anybody's time to say, Mr. Igwe or Marian, please buy into my content. It's not going to be enough just because I'm not going to go to him and say to him, please approve this plan based on this content. Because he's going to ask me questions and I will have to justify it. You will only but equip me to go and defend you, to be honest. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you very much, everyone.
I need to add something, please. So I agree with Chinedu that chemistry is very important. You build your relationship, know what you have, have direct access, look for who is doing what and all of that. But you also need to understand that no matter how much the chemistry you have with me or anybody or the planners or the buyers in every other agency, you need to have a content that is viable, that people can, that people can leverage. I will not leave a Wale Adenoga Productions content on NTA that has been there for over 20 years, that has been consistent and built and has also built their ratings for so long, and buy a program that just entered NTA. That's one. Number two, you also need to give your content time to grow. Chinedu, I will disagree with you. You tell me that in 3 months I need to buy. You can't wait for 3 months for your content to grow. If you have your content on YouTube, right, doesn't it take time to peak? That is just a simple example of what we're talking about. Doesn't it take time to peak? You go off air for 2 years, you come back and you expect me to buy when another content has built rating out of you. So consistency is key, whether you are offline or online. I tell a lot of people, always use the analogy of YouTube online, where you can see stuff, and also measure what you do offline. But I need to tell everybody, chemistry is key. Build your relationship. Walk away from people who do 10%, 20%. And I was speaking to Amaka. If you have people who do 10%, 20%, look for a way to report. It doesn't stop you from maybe during Christmas or birthday or whatever, in line with the gift policies of the company. Please look for a way. Some people focus. They meet you, just say, I can give you 10%. What are you saying? You can give me 10%. What does that mean? You're not even focusing on selling your content. Build your ratings. Ratings is also very, very important. For some clients, even within our agency, they don't bother about ratings. Sometimes they just want the environment. I want a cooking show. I don't want a station program. Give me a mix of IPS and RS. Some clients will tell you, I think RS is what gives me my ratings and my GRP. Leverage only RS. So strategy differs. And the truth is, if I'm looking for a cooking program, I don't look for programs anyway. It is top of mind. It is that person that talks to me. You have marketers, send messages. So for what Igwe is saying, for me, relationship is key. But always position yourself as a solutions person. Not buy now, they will sack me. We all also will be sacked one day. So please give me the right solutions.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I understand. Chemistry is very important. The data analysis is part of it.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel GoldmyneTV and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.